High above the world, Starhaven hummed with a rhythm of ancient light. Millions of stars pulsed in the dark, casting beams across the expanse. Amidst the steady glow, one small golden sphere darted through the clouds with frantic energy. Lumi did not maintain a constant shine. Instead, the little star twisted into the shapes of leaping bunnies, curved bananas, and dancing noodles. Every time a child below giggled, the star reacted, pulsing with a sharper, warmer hue that rippled through the atmosphere. This was the joy of the heavens, a silent language of light. The Great Glow Festival approached, and the Moon Queen declared that only the brightest star would lead the annual parade. Lumi watched the larger stars practice their steady, blinding radiance, yet kept spinning into new forms. The little star pushed its light to the limit, weaving tighter loops and brighter flashes, determined to prove that its playful flicker deserved the lead. The entire sky felt the ambition, a hum of anticipation vibrating through the clouds as the deadline for the parade drew near. The final rehearsal demanded everything. Lumi spun faster, drawing energy from the core, pushing the glow until the edges of the golden sphere began to fray. Suddenly, a sharp, internal pop echoed through the silent expanse. The light vanished. Where there had been a brilliant, shifting radiance, only a dim gray flicker remained. The sphere shuddered, losing its momentum. Other stars drifted past, their steady beams cutting through the dark, their pulses rhythmic and cold. They did not slow down. They whispered of the failure, their light casting long, judging shadows over the flickering spark. Lumi felt the heat drain away. The connection to the sky snapped. Gravity took hold, pulling the star downward with violent force. Lumi tumbled through the thick, damp clouds, the descent accelerating as the golden glow faded to a hollow, metallic dullness. The wind rushed past, blurring the stars into streaks of white. Then, the horizon rushed up. The impact was sudden, a dull thud against the forest floor, followed by the settling of leaves and the crushing weight of silence. Lumi lay trapped beneath a giant mushroom. The world turned dark, cold, and utterly still. A shadow moved. Momo the bunny nudged the base of the mushroom, followed by Pip the fox and Nutty the squirrel. They peered into the gloom, eyes wide, watching the gray, flickering sphere. Lumi remained hollow, the light refusing to catch. Momo piled glowing wildflowers around the edges, but the petals wilted in the damp air. Pip dusted the surface with fine, sparkling pollen, yet it slid off like sand. Nutty led the trio in a frantic, rhythmic dance, paws drumming against the bark, hoping to stir a spark. The forest echoed with their effort, but Lumi stayed cold. Silence returned, heavier than before. Then, a weary firefly drifted from the canopy, pulsing with a faint, steady rhythm that matched the heartbeat of the woods. "Stars do not shine to be seen," the firefly hummed, its light barely touching the moss. "They shine to guide others." Before the words could settle, the air grew thick and heavy. A sudden, sharp crack of thunder split the sky. The leaves above shuddered as the first heavy droplets slammed into the ground. A cold wind whipped through the branches, bending the trees until they groaned. The forest turned hostile, the shadows deepening into jagged, shifting shapes as the storm broke with violent, unchecked force. A scream pierced the rain. A baby bird tumbled from a high branch, hitting the rising river with a splash. The current grabbed the chick, dragging it toward the jagged reeds and swirling debris. Lumi did not hesitate. The dim, gray sphere surged forward, darting through the downpour. It hovered inches above the water, casting a faint, desperate light that cut through the spray. Momo scrambled to the bank, dragging broad leaves to build a makeshift bridge against the churning current. Pip hauled heavy, waterlogged sticks, jamming them into the mud to create a dam that slowed the water's rush. Nutty swung from a vine, muscles taut, reaching into the dark flow. The river roared, hungry and wild, but the animals worked in rhythm. Lumi pushed every remaining ounce of energy into the glow, holding steady despite the wind. The chick drifted closer to the bank, its wings flapping uselessly against the tide. Nutty lunged, fingers brushing wet feathers. The bird tumbled toward the leaves, slipping, sliding, then catching on a root. The rescue was brutal and fast. The forest floor, a mess of mud and thrashing water, but the bird was no longer in the deep. The baby bird clung to the riverbank, its breathing shallow but steady. As the chick pulled itself onto the dry moss, a warmth sparked deep inside the center of the sphere. It was not the forced, desperate flicker from before, but a steady rising heat. The gray light vanished. A golden aura erupted, expanding outward in a rapid, pulsing wave. The forest floor, damp and dark only moments ago, ignited with clarity. Every leaf, every stone, and every raindrop caught the sudden brilliance, glowing as if it were high noon. The trees stood tall, shedding the shadows that had gripped them. High above, the heavy clouds split apart, revealing the vast, clear expanse of the sky. The Moon Queen watched from the heights as the golden sphere began to lift, shedding the mud and debris of the forest floor. Lumi rose, spiraling upward through the thinning rain. It did not spin into shapes or demand attention. It simply climbed, a beacon of constant, unwavering gold, finally understanding that its radiance was not meant for a parade, but for the act of lighting the way home for a friend.